Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our webinar today. Looks like we have a fair amount of awesome folks jumping in to join. A lot of new faces and a lot of new names are here. Excited for that. We're going to be doing a nice overview of a couple sets of opportunities across the space. So excited to share that with everyone and dive in. So I'll give it another 20 seconds or so, and then we'll dive into a little bit of the presentation today and build from there. So thank you all for making time on this Wednesday afternoon to jump in and join us. We'll be doing 1 to 2 of these each month and kicking off 2024 strong with some planning efforts here and wanting to highlight an overall annual schedule for folks as you're looking at what should we be planning for, where should we be looking, and diving into that. So other fun news, looks like we have a news crew that has now jumped into our office here today to film about the local Alexandria flooding. So they've jumped in to see what happened here in our office. If any of you are in DC or in the DMV area, I would love to have you come by and hang out in the office. We're here in Old Town Alexandria, right here by the water. All right, so let's jump into the opportunity goldmine, things you should be tracking. My request is that if folks have questions, please jump into the Q&A. That's going to be the best place to have your question come up, and then I can answer it while we're going, and our team can jump in and help answer as well. And this way we can track questions, and it's a lot easier to keep track of things while going through with chat. I'm Joey Arora. I'm one of the managing partners here at the Outpost. We're a boutique consulting firm that helps companies grow and scale inside of government. And so we help companies understand how to work and how to grow. Fun thing about what we're talking about today is that inside of the world of government contracting, there's an array of options that are out there. And this is known as sort of the acquisition fan, different pathways to go over, or different opportunities. And as I was preparing for this webinar, I spent a lot of time thinking about, well, what should I go over in a 20-minute session with folks today? And what are things that they need to know about all of this? And what I realized is there's way too much that I can go over in a 20-minute period. And what would make the most sense is to really focus down on a couple of specific opportunities and highlight, hey, where are those options today? Where can you go? And so today we're going to go over and highlight challenges and SBIR and STTR. The nice thing about these is that there's a ton of opportunity and billions of dollars available through the challenge and SBIR and STTR programs that are on a set schedule each year and something that you can see and plan for ahead of time. And there's some really good websites and resources to do so. The other types of contracting vehicles and other opportunities, I will be covering those in future webinars, as our goal is to help you highlight and find these different resources and opportunities. So our webinar in February is going to be on sam.gov, and we'll talk about a little bit how to use that and how to use finding these other types of opportunities and how to get into there. So let's dive in. About challenges in the SBIR and STTR program. The cool thing about the challenge program is that it's a interesting place for any federal entity to go out and say, hey, we would like to push a problem statement and opportunity out to the commercial world, and companies of any size and shape can compete and engage in these opportunities. And I think one of the best things that are out there is that the challenge process also drives a lot of engagement and partnership opportunities that I don't think you see elsewhere, and conversations with the stakeholders. The best place for all of these is on challenge.gov, and I'll go over a couple other sites that I think are relevant for this year as well. And the other cool thing is that there's the SBIR and STTR program, which has 11 different federal agencies that participate, with over $3 billion just between the Department of Defense and the Human and Health Services Department. So just between these few opportunities, there's multi-billions of dollars going out in each year. And let's dive in a little bit more to learn about what they are, how we can go through it, and what that looks like. It's like challenges. What are those? And who can do them? And what's the legal authority behind it? Well, the nice thing about challenges is that every federal organization can do it, and they have different pathways for using that money and getting it to companies. So know that this is something any federal agency can do, and we can dive into where we see a lot of that. So there's key sites to watch for this year: our AFWERX Challenge, challenge.gov, and the AI Cyber Challenge. And I specifically bring up the AI Cyber Challenge one because this is a specific opportunity being led by DARPA, and they're partnered with some of the largest names in the artificial intelligence space. And this prize competition will award up to $29.5 million over the next couple years. And if you are looking at how you can be a part of something that is pushing the boundaries of cybersecurity, this is the challenge that you should definitely track. And as a large portfolio of companies working in the government space have something to do with cybersecurity and AML, I thought this would be a great one to highlight. So be sure to check out aicyberchallenge.com and learn a little bit more about their program. They've done a pretty good job of sharing the rules. They have a full-blown schedule. The championships for this will be at DEF CON this year, so it's pretty freaking awesome. So highly recommend checking that out. The next site to check out is AFWERX Challenge. This one's focused on the Air and Space Force, but the neat thing is they also have a set of challenges here that you can see that are across a variety of different opportunities. So they have efforts from the air-to-air refueling mechanism, a digital design challenge just focused on that. Looking at alternative options for GPS, so what position navigation timing efforts you have going on. And the unique thing about a couple of the SpaceWorks challenges is those are follow-on opportunities to SBIR grants and contracts. So this is a great chance for you to get in with some stakeholders and really build upon a prototype project there. The other challenges here also have funding behind them from those government stakeholders. So it's interesting to dive in and look at those. You have the Super Goggle Challenge. You have that's AR, VR efforts with Power Generation Challenge and UAS challenges here. So the challenge team does a phenomenal job. So this is definitely a site to look at, sign up, and get on their mailing list so you can stay updated about all the recent efforts that are going on. And the biggest one in this space is the official US government's challenge.gov website. This is awesome because there are challenges that are spread out across the entire government space. And as I mentioned earlier, with the legal authority behind challenges, there can be challenges from any organization across the federal government space. So you're seeing everything from the Federal Trade Commission putting out a challenge around voice cloning to challenges here that are around hypersonics in the DoD, to the Department of Health and Human Services also looking at lead detection. So as you're looking at all of these, I saw a question come in: do some of these challenges have an end date and a follow-on date? There are, I think the question is specifically around the AFWERX Challenge ones. So if you miss the submission window, just like any federal solicitation, you will not be able to go in and compete on sort of a second entry point. If you're following these things on the challenge sites, they're often posted 2 to 3 months in advance of the closing date. So it's good to keep, maybe just set a monthly reminder to see what are the latest challenges and opportunities that are out there so you don't miss some of those insertion points. Going back to challenge.gov, the cool thing about this site is you'll see challenges from all across the federal government space and an opportunity to dive into problem and opportunities that you think could be interesting for you. So everything from gas venting to powering safer choices around fentanyl awareness. So these are cool things that I wanted to point out to folks. the challenge site are great places to get to know the stakeholders that are part of these efforts, truly build some relationships that can then lead on to future funding opportunities. So, any questions around the challenge process? All right. There was also a request to talk about, hey, if you're a drone in the box startup, how do you engage and how do you get involved with some of these things? So I'd say specifically on the challenge pieces, look at any of the challenges that are out there and see how those fit in with your current capabilities. And if there is a match, be sure to submit and get engaged in that process. All right. Next up, we got 9 minutes to go through what is the SBIR program and what is the STTR program. This is the Small Business Innovation Research Program and the Small Business Technology Transfer Program. And the intent of these programs are to be America's seed fund. So if you have an idea and you're looking at, hey, how can I build on this idea and get it to the right stakeholders? How do I take an idea and get some research and development money to further develop what we're creating? This is the right place for you to go. And there are opportunities in these programs to go from $50,000 contracts to $15 million efforts and multi-year efforts. And that really pair well with opportunities to scale around private traction that you may have. So this is a great chance to look into these programs. Our organization specializes in helping companies go from 0 to 30 million in government contracts. And we definitely strongly encourage all of our companies to leverage the SBIR and STTR programs to get R&D funding to build out their capabilities. They're phenomenal programs, and it's one of the best run things across the DoD space. I'm sorry, the government space. So, all right, next up, let me get back into slideshow mode. All right, a dual use approach. So one of the things I want to talk about today is specifically around the Air Force One. There's a open topic program, and the open topic program is a great opportunity if you're a company looking for an SBIR award. You're like, I don't know, there's a specific topic for me, such as a drone in a box US company, then this is an opportunity to say, hey, we think this is how you can use our technology, and we want to share it with those respective stakeholders. All right, so you might be asking, well, what is the difference between a SBIR versus an STTR? Well, the biggest difference is that to do the STTR program, you need to partner with a nonprofit research institution or a research institution to perform at least 30% of the work. The intent behind this is that you have another entity that can help further the R&D work that's necessary and build upon that. So you're like bringing in expertise across a university or a research center. They can do up to 60% of the work in partnership with a company as well. Some key things to note for the SBIR and STTR programs. It must be for less than 500 employees and companies that are majority American owned. So we talked a little bit earlier about, hey, there's a difference between an open topic and specific topic. So the interesting thing is around the specific topic, that's what a majority of the agencies do. And so you saw that there's 11 different agencies that do SBIR programs. These agencies generally push out specific topics saying, here are the things that we want to know and see and get back from companies that are in this in our technology area. There's an open topic that applies that is DoD wide, so it's only in the Department of Defense. It was mandated in the NDAA. I also see that there's a question on if there will be open topics across other agencies. Right now, there's no requirement for those entities to do an open topic, but what we're seeing is that there's phenomenal success with the open topic process in driving innovation and new ideas, plus small business technology adoption in those respective agencies. So I'm highly encouraged by the data that's come out from the Government Accountability Office around the open topic, and being one of the people who helped create that process, I feel deeply passionate about the fact that, hey, the data shows that it's working, and I think we should expand that program as a way to help drive innovation across the government space. Also see a request to share this deck later. The nice thing is we will do that with everyone that has shared their emails and registered for this event. So thank you for doing so. Folks, if you have any questions, please remember to jump into Q&A. Deeply appreciate that. So we might be wondering, like, hey, what is the open topic process? And like, why is that interesting on the Air Force side? Why is that an avenue for me to jump in? Well, the open topic process allows for you to get a contract that is $75,000 up to $110,000 to do a feasibility analysis, to do your customer discovery process, to engage with the right government stakeholders and find out, is this a fit and is there an actual opportunity for us to go solve a problem? So you're getting paid to do that work. And then the goal is to scale that up into a prototype project where you get to work on getting anywhere from 1.25 to 1.8 million to go actually build out your solution, validate it with those end users. And then there's another opportunity to grow up and scale that as well. Goal here was to create a large funnel up top of companies that are interested, and then scale that down as people finding the right customers, the right places to engage, the right problems to solve, and then truly scale out the problems that are truly scale out the companies that are the ones solving the most important problems across the space. So this is a process you're seeing happen in a few different ways across the government landscape. You're seeing Army do it some with the X-Tech competition. You saw Navy set out some focus areas for their open topic. It'll be interesting to see how that evolves here in 2024. I highly encourage folks to keep track of the SBIR websites, keep track of sam.gov notifications to see, like, hey, what's out there and what opportunities exist. So the other thing to think about is on the phases of the contract awards. We have the phase ones. This is where I talked about that initial feasibility study. And then the phase two process is where there's opportunity to prototype something, really build on the technology that you've created. There, it scales into some interesting opportunities with the Air Force and the Army. There's opportunities known as the StratFi and TACFi programs and the Army Catalyst program. These are great opportunities to truly partner with a program office and get additional capital in to work on your project and transition it to a long-term funding opportunity. The intent of these programs was to sort of bridge that valley of death where the funding timeline for a lot of government entities is a 2 to 3 year time period, and the budgets are created 2 years in advance. So how do you break into that budget cycle, and how do you get ahead of answering, hey, when we can't wait 2 years to deploy our capability, how do we pull that timeline left? And these programs provide incentive funding and matching funding at the same time as you're bringing in those government customer dollars to speed up the adoption of those technologies. So it's a great thing to consider and take a look at. For these programs, you often need to already have a phase two award. So it's something to look at as you're planning out your 2024. Make sure you can get in place for a phase two. The evaluation criteria for SBIRs across the 11 different agencies. There's 3 different pieces there. There's the technical merit. So you want to make sure that you are able to demonstrate that what you're creating is real and it has interesting technology associated with it as well. There are pieces in here that you want to show that, hey, you're not developing time travel. You're developing a new type of metamaterial. And here's the data that backs up you've actually been able to create it, or the modeling that shows, hey, this is possible and why you need further funding to pursue the development of it. So you need to be able to go deep on the technical side. Their other evaluation criteria is team. You want to make sure the principal investigator, the staff, or entities working on the opportunity are the right folks. So are you a mechanical engineer working on a software problem, or are you a software engineer working on a software problem, right? You want to create that alignment and be able to show, especially for some of these very scientific proposals and efforts across the SBIR and STTR space. These are things that you definitely want to jump in and answer. The third evaluation criteria is commercialization. Want to see America's Seed Fund is very focused on saying, hey, are there other monies that'll come to help continue the sale and growth of this technology? The SBIR and STTR programs specifically want to see those technologies get sell and get money from other places, not only from the SBIR and STTR program. That's what's defined as success in this program, and we want to see more of that as well. So you might be wondering, hey, what are the solicitation cycles for this year? So the current cycle is actually open now and is due on February 7th. So DoD has their annual cycle right now. It's currently open, this first one for 24. You'll see 2 more rounds this year. That'll open in May and close in June, and then open in September and close in October. So these are things that we want to build around, and you want to make sure that, hey, as you're planning your workloads, that, hey, especially during these pre-release periods, this month ahead of time, that you're actually taking a look at these proposals and saying, hey, that's the time to ask questions. That's the time to get to know the stakeholders. That's the time to start preparing your proposal, because now you're within a 60-day window to get these submitted. There's also the open topic process for the Air Force that's been published. So you'll see that we're right now in the January cycle here. And so you're gonna see the next open solicitation from the phase 1s will open up on February 7th and is due on March 7th. Then you'll see a direct to phase 2 and repeating phase 1 and phase 2 cycle this year. So the award announcements and other pieces for the winter phase 1s are coming through as well. We talked about the StratFi and TACFi programs. This is just going over those amounts. There's no projected timeline on when these will be announced from last year, but the future year efforts expect they'll come out in September again. We talked a little bit about how there's matching fund options. We'll do a separate webinar deep diving into these pieces and go into there. Wanted to leave a few minutes here for Q&A. If you're interested in doing government business development and you're looking for some help in understanding how do we go after some of these challenge opportunities, how do we leverage SBIR, STTR, how do we leverage other transactions, commercial solutions openings, we're here to help. And I would love to be able to grow more businesses in the space and work with you to help there to be more opportunities as well. All right, got a request from Anonymous. Can we go back to the StratFi slide for a moment? So can go into here and make that. Let me know what questions you have on this. Are there any other specific questions about the StratFi TACFi process or things that we can help answer? I see, hey, curious about the timeline. StratFi TACFi award announcement timeline. They were submitted right in October and November. And so AFWorks team committed to a 90 to 100-day period where they wanted to get the awards and announcements out. We are nearing the end of that period. So I expect that the announcement should come out hopefully soon in the next 30-ish or so days. We'll see what they do. And they wanted to speed it up from last year's timeline, and I think that team is committed to that, and I'm excited to see that turn around. I expect this next year cycle for them to do something similar with a shortened submission window, but the exact timeline has not been decided yet. I'm expecting it'll be in September. And thanks, Anonymous. I'm glad you got the info you were looking for. Another Anonymous, does your company offer complete SBIR writing and graphics, etc.? Yeah, we're a full-scale BD team. We help companies that want to go from 0 to 30 million in the government space. If you're struggling to understand, like, how do we get into our foot in the door for contracts? How do we get in our first SBIR proposal? Or how do we start talking with government stakeholders? We provide a full scale shop where we have an account management team, we have a proposal writing team, we have a creative team, and all of this comes together to help organizations win. We've helped over 200 companies win over 367 million in contracts in the space. From Anonymous, how many submissions were there in the last open topic and how many winners, SBIR and STTR? Those stats are published on the AFWorks.com website. So I'd recommend that you go there to pull that up. I can also, if you want to type in your email in chat, I can follow up with you with that data. I don't have that memorized off the top of my head. How has the Air Force open topic changed recently? The biggest changes you're seeing in the open topic process are that it's limited to one submission per solicitation. The evaluation criteria have stayed the same mostly. The evaluation that happens is being done more by SMEs in the respective fields for those companies. And they're doing a lot better job about getting the companies on contract and following the timelines that they're pursuing, trying to get the phase 1s and phase 2s on contract within 90 days. So it's been a super positive change there. You're seeing a lot more requirements being put on the technical points of contact. Those are the folks that are signing up to help be a part of the contract execution process. So they're still not as demanding as a contracting officer representative, but there's a lot more work being put on there. You're also seeing a lot more scrutiny around the customer and end user discussions as well, of who is actually the customer being able to pay for things, and then some pieces around who are the end users and are they different enough from the customers and the ones utilizing the tech. All right. If you get an open topic SBIR, how do you find an end user? That's where your business development efforts come in. Whether you are going to a conference, you're going to connect with folks on LinkedIn, you're going to reach out to your defense network. You hire us to help you in that process. When you want to find an end user and engage with them, it's about doing the due diligence and research and figuring out how do you want to best get connected to those respective organizations and who has the relationships to help facilitate that. That's also a great thing about the challenge events, is it's a great opportunity to talk with those stakeholders and get to know them as well. There's also collider events and mixers. We have an events calendar on our website where you can see, hey, what are the top defense events to go to and the right places to go meet those end users so you can talk to them. All right, friends, we have 30 seconds left, so I will answer this last question. If you would like to chat or would like a copy of the slides, feel free to reach out. We'll be sending out some information about how to work with us, and excited to get to know you all and help you win in the government space. Last question. In the case of new robotic technology, what type of end user would be most helpful? And can we give an example of a recent success? So I would need to know a little bit more detail on what kind of new robotic technology, whether this is a new type of application in space or if this is a new type of drone tech. So it depends on where that's focused, is where you would find your end user. And yeah, happy to talk to you about a recent success. We've been working with a battery technology company and a generator company as well, and the ability to scale that effort out to 6 different bases and help them identify a couple of unique contracting vehicles to get after. We were able to identify who the hardware providers were previously. Then we were able to create a competitive offering with our client, and then pursue a contract where we were able to scale that out across a few different bases. and they developed some unique technology leveraging SPIR, which made them the preferred vendor at the end of the day. So we helped that company go to about 4.5 million in contracts over that time. It's pretty great. All right, I appreciate it, team. Thanks everyone for making time today. Happy to stick around for a couple more moments and answer questions. I appreciate everyone taking some time. Take care. Thanks, David. Have a good day, everyone.